when you're DJing these parties, you get to see how people are reacting to records in real time. Did that influence your thinking about the music that you were making?
BPM-wise, for sure. That's when I learned the importance of the speed of the beat. When I was DJing the parties, I was realizing it was people dancing to the songs from this mid-range BPM, like 65 to 70 BPM. And I was like, you know what? I need to start making beats in this same range. First, I was making slower beats. It was still hits though, like local hits. But I was like, this kind of like that range and tempo that I need to stick with.
Breaking news at 5 o'clock, Grammy-nominated music producer Tay Keith has died. Right now, Metro Police are investigating.
Behind Sicko Mode, behind Look Alive, behind Nonstop, Tay Keith was quietly building something almost nobody thought to ask about. A music catalog worth millions, a publishing deal with one of the biggest companies in the business, his own music group with his name on the paperwork, reported moves into real estate and investments. Most people knew him for the sound. Very few understood the wealth stacking up in the background every time one of his records played anywhere on the planet. On June 18, 2026, Bratavius Lake Keith Chambers was found dead in his Nashville apartment at 29 years old. Metro Nashville police said no foul play was suspected. The case is still unclassified pending autopsy. A young man at the absolute peak of his powers, gone way too soon. But here is the thing about what he built. The music does not stop when the heartbeat does. The catalog keeps spinning. The royalties keep landing. The ownership stays exactly where he left it. And what he created is still alive, still earning, and now it belongs to whoever he left it to. So let's understand how a kid from South Memphis ended up sitting on an estate the whole industry is now trying to put a number on. He was born September 20th, 1996, youngest of 5, in a working-class household with no music industry connections. His father was a locksmith. His mother went to cosmetology school. They pushed education hard because that was the path they understood. His early love of music traced back to time spent at his father's house, where there was a connection to DJing, a spark that got lit on weekends and never went out. He started making beats at 14, teaching himself the software, no mentor with a platinum plaque sitting next to him. And here is the detail most people sleep on. While everyone around him wanted to rap, wanted the mic and the spotlight, Tay went the opposite direction. He went behind the glass. He fell in love with the construction of the sound, the architecture of it, how a single drum pattern could make a room lose its mind. That is the ambition of a builder, and builders are the ones who get paid long after the show is over. He uploaded beats to YouTube and DatPiff, throwing his work into the void with no guarantee anything would come back. He kept stacking, kept refining, kept getting better every week. Then, he linked with a Memphis rapper named Blockboy JB, and they built something distinctly theirs. Here is the part that connects directly to everything that followed. His parents had pushed education so deep that Tay enrolled at Middle Tennessee State University, studying media management, balancing classes and beat-making simultaneously, refusing to fully bet on either path until he had to. He graduated December 15, 2018. First-generation college graduate. And the thing is, he was not just making beats blind while he was there. He was teaching the business side, the executive side, how the machine works. That degree shows up later in every ownership move he made. It is a big reason this story ends with an estate instead of just a highlight reel. Because 2018 was not just the year he graduated. It was the year the entire planet learned his name. Look Alive with Blockboy JB, featuring Drake hit number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. The single biggest artist on the planet, rapping over a beat made by a kid who was uploading to DatPiff years earlier. That producer tag started dropping on radio stations in every city in America. Then Drake's Nonstop off Scorpion, a global smash, number 2 on the Hot 100, streamed billions of times. Every one of those album streams touching the producers attached to its tracks. Then, Travis Scott's Sicko Mode, a cultural earthquake. Number 1 record, over 30 weeks in the Billboard Top 10, eventually certified diamond. 10 million units, billions of streams, his first Grammy nomination. A song that defined a moment and still gets played in arenas and cars and clubs years later. That single record changed the math of his entire career. And the range he showed in that same stretch is the detail that matters most for understanding his long-term value. Drake, Travis Scott, Eminem on Kamikaze, Beyoncé on her Homecoming live album. 4 completely different superstars across entirely different lanes of hip-hop, all trusting this young Memphis producer with their records in overlapping windows. Later, he helped launch Sexy Red with Pound Town, proving he could still find and build the next wave instead of just riding the last one. By the time it was all tallied, 11 top 10 hits on the Billboard Hot 100, 6 number ones on the Hot R&B and Hip Hop Songs chart, Forbes 30 Under 30 in music, 3-time BMI Producer of the Year. That track record is not just trophies. It is the credential that kept his rates high, kept the superstars calling, and kept his earning power climbing year over year. Now here is what that body of work actually built. The reported estimates put his net worth in the range of $2 to $10 million, depending on how the catalog gets valued. That spread is not an error. It reflects the fact that the most valuable thing this man owned is not cash sitting in a bank. It lives inside the songs, and the value of songs is a moving target. The crown jewel is the catalog. Hundreds of tracks, including diamond and multi-platinum records pulling billions of streams collectively. A producer at his level earns in layers: an upfront production fee for creating the beat, producer points that are a negotiated percentage of the record's ongoing earnings, and songwriting and publishing royalties tied to ownership of the composition itself. Stack those 3 layers across hundreds of tracks and you have a machine that runs on its own. Every stream of Sicko Mode in 2026 sends fractions back to the rights holders. Every future sync placement, every sample, every cover, every time that composition gets used anywhere in the world triggers a payment. The publishing deal with Warner Chappell Music is one of the most durable assets in the entire estate. Publishing rights are tied to the underlying composition, the melody, the structure, and they keep generating income as long as those compositions get used anywhere. A record from 2018 is still earning publishing money in 2026, and will keep earning long past that. Music copyright lasts decades. This is the quiet, compounding part that most fans never think about, but it is exactly the kind of asset that builds true, lasting generational wealth. Then in 2018, the same breakout year, he and his manager Cambrian Strong co-founded Dramatized Music Group, his own company. This is one of the smartest moves in the whole story, and it ties directly back to that media management degree. A producer who only takes work for hire is essentially an employee of the industry, no matter how famous he gets. A producer who builds a company becomes an owner inside the industry. Dramatized is a structure, a vehicle for signing other talent, developing artists, controlling masters, building equity that exists independent of his own production work. That company holds value of its own, and whatever it controls in contracts, catalog, and signed talent is part of the larger estate. On top of that, reports indicate he put money into real estate and stocks early in his career. Real estate appreciates, stocks compound. Putting money into assets that grow is how you convert a hot streak of hit records into a foundation that outlasts the hot streak. That mindset, preservation and growth, not just earning and spending, at 20-something and at the height of fame is genuinely rare. So stack it all together: the catalog, the Warner Chappell Publishing, Dramatized Music Group, the real estate, the investments, and you understand why the estate is harder to measure than a single number suggests, and why the true value very likely runs higher than the liquid cash alone. What his family inherits is not just money, it is ownership. Every future stream of Sicko Mode, every spin of Look Alive, every time Before I Let Go plays somewhere in the world. Year over year, decade over decade, that catalog keeps earning. Music copyright does not expire next year or the year after, or even in the family's lifetime. The royalties can support his family for a very long time. The publishing income flows from the compositions themselves, often the single most durable asset in any music estate. The equity inside Dramatized transfers. The real estate and investments pass down like any other property. That is what generational wealth in music actually looks like in practice. Not the cars in the driveway, the ownership. Tay Keith figured out young what most people twice his age never grasp. The real win is not making the hit. The real win is owning a piece of it. He built work that keeps working, and that is the inheritance he left behind. Rest in power, Bratavius Chambers. The beats are going to keep dropping forever. Drop a comment. What Tay Keith production hits hardest for you, And what does his story teach about building real, lasting wealth